All right, cool. So let's get back into it here. So,
And we're good.
all right, guys, welcome back. This is going to be the weekly intel. Thanks for sticking with us here. This is really going to be a very exciting topic. We got James Drury here to tell us all about Pro Battle League. So let's kind of start off right at the top for people that have no idea or are not familiar with Pro Battle League. What is it all about?
Absolutely. So Pro Battle League is all about regional rivalry and grassroots gaming. And it is about growing from your local community, which that's where all of us are from. If we're gamers now, that means we were gamers like 10, 12 years ago when we didn't have internet connection and when things were the coolest when you got together and played together. And playing in person is always one of those super nostalgic things and something that a lot of people say that they really want to do and then never execute on. So we combined that mentality with the opportunities that Halo 5 has really brought to the table with as an esports platform, as a game that can be played and that can be bigger and better than even the League of Legends community. And that's so bold to say, but I'm more than happy to stick to my guns on that, because I know that the soul of Halo really dives down back to a lot of people's roots, and we're in the process of revitalizing it as a culture and as a community, and I'm really excited about that. And what Pro Battle League does is host. We do a couple of different things, but currently our biggest way that we connect with the community is through live events at the Microsoft stores, soon to be guaranteed near you, and allow players to come to a very neutral, exciting venue and have an opportunity to network, to play, and to experience some of those awesome feelings that we all had when we just got together over something that we all enjoy.
Awesome. So do you have like set up teams right now that kind of come together in different cities?
Yeah, so we had big dreams a couple of months ago, big dreams and no teams. Now we've got bigger dreams and a few teams.
All right.
It's if anybody that's been an aspiring Halo or video game professional that is revolving around a team knows how difficult it really is. It's tough to get these guys together and to coordinate, whether it comes from actual, gameplay and styles and strategies to real world stuff like timing and dealing with conflict. Those are really tough. Those are big barriers that players come across. And so what we've done in the past couple of months is reach out to players individually, and help them and coach them through that process of getting to know people, and also doing the majority of the legwork on the marketing front to find those free agents, which we all know there's a ton of. If you go on the forums, if you're on Twitter, half the people's usernames, if they're excited about maybe joining a team, you see Joshua FA, and it's just like, we know what that means, but no one's going to reach out to you and help you manage. Like, you have to be the Halo pros that are where they're at. They're there for a reason, because they grinded and they did everything that needed to do to get to the position. And not to say that that's not what everybody should do, but there's a lot of people out there that definitely deserve that opportunity and maybe could just use a little bit of coaching and management. And so the Pro Battle League sees these opportunities of bringing these players in, forming some of the teams. And in Seattle, we do have about 3 teams. One that's set solid, they're a team of 4 and they practice on a regular basis, and a couple of the other ones that do come together on those Thursday night scrims at twitch.tv/Pro Battle League and at the Microsoft Live events. Portland also has a pretty awesome team centered around a guy named Active, very, very impressive player, and then a couple of awesome griff ballers that are down there as well. And like you asked, do these teams play each other? Yeah, like we've had a couple of really successful Microsoft events these past couple of months, and now that we've got some of the technical savvy nailed down, we've had these teams compete against each other. And the Seattle and the Bellevue team are just a 15, 25-minute car ride away. And usually I go and visit one venue and say hi to everybody, and then I'll go over to the venue that I'm going to actually manage.
Right.
And we've got the live casting. We've got DJ Blue PDX, who's up there on the big screen at all the Microsoft stores. We're streaming on Twitch. We've got live games going, and it's that regional rivalry. It's Seattle versus Bellevue, the East Side versus the West Side, and whoever wins that gets to play Portland. And we're building teams down in California. our biggest event is going to be in San Fran this April 3rd. We're going to try to get as many people from the 405th out there, and we're trying to get as many people out there to compete, as well as just community spectators and just community gamers. We always make sure we let everybody play when they do come to one of these events, but it is really cool to watch some of the really competitive players go up against the other cities on the West Coast for now.
Absolutely. So even if you're not on a team and you show up, you're able to hop on and play a game?
You're absolutely able to hop on and play a team, and it just depends. What are you there for? Are you a free agent? Are you looking for a team of 4? Then you come and talk to the team managers. We'll help you get in touch. We'll give you gamer tags. We'll get you on Facebook and in the right chat messages, not just the forums and all that stuff. It needs to be another level of personalization in order to get these teams actually, you got to get them kickstarted, right? You got to prime it a little bit on some of these characters, get across some communication barriers, and get those guys out into the tall grass and let them start running arena and let that team chemistry build. But if you're just looking to come because you love Halo and maybe one of your best friends is really good at Halo, what we're really trying to do is build such a unique and awesome player base that we can have, and this is a big dream of mine, tournaments inside of each tier. We've already got it set up in Halo. There's bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, and onyx. Yep. And I would love the opportunity to host tournaments where only players that are ranked in silver and bronze can play. And I guarantee you, if they want to commit some of their time to playing against some of those other players, take a little bit of coaching, there's no way they play in that bronze or silver tournament more than 2 months. I'll make sure those guys are golds and platinums in no time, because we know Halo is a very teachable game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you make a great point there. I think that's fantastic, because that's really an area that doesn't get focused on at all. Like, if you're not diamond or above, people are just like, whatever, like scrub, like it does, it doesn't matter. So being able to give those people the attention to grow and improve their game, I think that's so important. And we talked about this before we hopped on. Maddie and I went over to Gamers for Giving. We weren't able to get a team together, unfortunately, but we were intimidated a little bit, to go up against these guys, because for one, going into Michigan with how strong the LAN scene is, and these guys know each other, they're gaming, they're teaming against each other all the time. It's intimidating, because you don't know where you're going to shake out, if you're just going to get stomped or if you might have a little bit of a showing. So being able to know that you are going up against people that are in your same tier, I think that's breaks down so many barriers.
Yeah. Also local too, right? So I mean, or relatively local, which adds a whole other level to it. as far as like. Breaking down that barrier of, okay, is this team coming over from? We met people at the Gamers for Giving from Chicago that they played together, and they had a team from Chicago, and they were coming over there to play the tournament. Like, okay, well, that's kind of legit.
You've committed, yeah, all right. Yeah. And the only thing that I don't like about that is chances are those guys aren't going to stick around to help you out. Right. And it's not their they're not obligated to do that. But the cool thing about gaming locally, like you're saying, Matt, is that you get the opportunity to meet these guys, and that you're going to see more than once or twice. You're going to see them every month on the first Sunday of every month at the Microsoft Store, and you can ask them. And then I've got players that I've coached, and I've said some of the smallest little pieces of advice, and then I've had guys come back in a month or two and just been like, "You changed my gameplay." Not blowing smoke, but if you really you tell somebody, you just see them do one thing, like you're just standing behind them, you're like, "Hey man, like, can I give you some feedback?" And you do, and you kind of open their eyes, and all of a sudden it's like, your Pokemon is evolving right now, like holy moly, like it all clicks. And so that's really, really cool to see that. And Matt, yeah, that's why gaming locally there's so many benefits to it, and that's one of the big ones.
So how many tiers do you have? Different tiers kind of established right now for that teams can kind of place into?
Established, yes. Filled, not quite. So we do regions. So we've got the Striker region, which is up the greater Seattle area.
Okay.
And then we have things called the Reserve Clubs. So I've got the Seattle Emerald Rain, the North Sound Aces, the Lake Washington Tribe, and the South King Rockets. So what that is the greater Seattle area has these 4 reserve club teams, really good teams that practice and play on a very consistent basis, and they're the guys, they're like your champions, right? Like they might be Onyx like 1700, and the people that play on the Striker Pro team to compete against the other teams, the other, like the greater California team or like the greater Oregon team, those guys are going to be your champion level guys, or your CSR 2000 plus.
Okay.
Which means, just as we've talked about, Halo is a very well balanced game. Those 1700s can easily put up a good fight against any champions, or what may be it. But that structure hasn't seen itself like populated heavily yet. We're close to doing it in Seattle, and we've got a couple of teams down in Portland. And as we grow, we'll see that kind of just more steadily develop a nice pyramid structure of like your talent up here, and maybe you might we don't put any legislation on who has to come from what team, or it has to be one player from a reserve club, but it's very possible that the 4 different teams that I just mentioned have their captain is their best. And so when the state of Washington goes to play against the state of California, it's really the captains of the 4 teams that come together and play that. And that's like the ultimate, like that's a crisp story that looks really cool. And the way that I put it, the 4 players up here, the best, they'll be playing together very often. They'll be playing together offline. Now, their reserve club teams, they'll be playing together on Thursday night, on the first Sunday. And that's when it kind of develops. I always had this vision when I was when I was up, when the Doritos Combine came out with MLG, where the pros weren't allowed to play. So we developed an amateur bracket. And I think 343 is kind of working through this as well. Imagine if every pro team sponsored a particular team of 4 or a team of 3 that they would play on in some sort of casual-esque tournament. That strategy, in my opinion, could really create this waterfall support approach to Halo as an esport. And so what we're doing is we're actually just coming from the bottom up, and we're doing that, developing, grabbing anybody from any skill level, making sure we nurture them through their Halo experience, making sure that anybody that comes to an event that maybe doesn't have anybody in their skill range, that doesn't that doesn't have that level of competition, doesn't have a good time. It's very that's a problem we come up against, and we got to make sure it's like, hey, you came to this event, like it's basically a party, and you've got food, you've got friends, that's all you're here for. There happens to be Halo and happens to be epic, and you might have some incredible games, but really it's more about the community. And as long as you can keep those people there throughout, it's probably a year to 2 years to where we can ever have like silver league tournaments. But if you keep those people there and they're excited to come just because they're excited to see you, that's when you're going to see the community build from the bottom up, and you're going to see that support structure. That's when you're going to see these prize pools go from 2.5 million to 10 million to 100 million. Like these, and those pro players, they deserve that, and they're the ones that should be essentially paying for maybe those community members that come to the stores, and they're the ones that buy downloadable content or buy like team swag. I can see that happening, like maybe sponsored teams, and none of that's in writing. We're not worried about that. We're just worried about building the community right now.
Yeah. So so right now the member team league, is there any teams forming around that? Is that something that you're still trying to build upon?
Yeah, that's the goal right now, is to build those reserve club teams.
Okay.
Because that adds another depth to regional rivalry. I'm more than happy to if somebody in California were to challenge the state of Washington and say, I got 4 California guys that want to play your 4 best Washington guys, let's have that be like the feature, best of 5 on the stream on Thursday. I certainly wouldn't back down from that challenge. I think that would be really exciting. But in all reality, you want to build from the inside out with something like this. So you build those reserve club teams. You find it a little bit easier to get kids that are literally like down the block from one another sometimes, and that's really cool when that happens. And then you just give them the opportunity to kind of game together, and then they have their weekly like schedule-ish kind of thing, and most of them just play Halo on their own. And so you're just adding people to friends list, and all of a sudden you've got these people that typically would play Halo on their own with no mic, actually like getting text messages from people in their community because they met them at a local event saying, hey, you want to run some Halo with me? And they actually put their headset on, and all of a sudden it's like Halo 2 again, and
that's awesome.
The world has changed. And that's those subtle passive pluses that the Pro Battle League is really looking to create. And then, at the same time, we're directly focusing on building those reserve club teams, and we've got team managers and captains, and it's very well structured for how little time we've actually been doing this. But you do something awesome and you get champions that come out of the woodwork and they step up to the plate. And this is all volunteer work.
Yeah.
Nobody gets paid. We're looking into sponsorship and doing bigger things, and maybe just the resources to go nationwide, to go global. We actually do have some guys in Scotland and in Europe who found me on Twitter
Nice.
in like dead of night, and they're like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Like messaging me like while I'm at work, and it's like their 7 p.m. and it's really, really exciting to see that kind of come to fruition, and to watch those teams get formed.
So which cities have you opened up right now? So you talk a lot about Seattle, Portland, and some cities down in LA or down in California.
Yep.
What all cities do you have on the West Coast, and are there plans to come east at all?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question, Brendan. And I know you're just excited because you want me out there sooner.
Right.
So a couple of things. I do have a champion over in Detroit, an old friend, not a Halo player, but he's the kind of guy that I can trust to go into the Microsoft store and be a representative. The cities I have now, so you can be excited is what I'm telling you.
Perfect. I love it.
Soon, very soon. And so what we've got set up right now, for sure. And let's just talk about the 3-month roadmap. April 3rd is our next event, this upcoming Sunday. So from 1 to 6 p.m. on Pacific Standard Time, we've got 8 Xboxes set up, ready to play at Seattle University Village store, at the Bellevue Microsoft store in the mall, in Portland, Oregon, San Francisco. That's our big one. We're going to have some really important Microsoft execs there. And then we'll be over in Santa Clara is actually doing a weekly Halo event for 2 hours, and then they're extending it on April 3rd for the whole 5 hours. And then we'll be in Century City in Los Angeles, and then we'll also have Canoga Park open, probably just a couple of machines. We want most of the people, because they're so close, to go to the LA event. We'd rather see that a little bit more filled up.
Sure.
Until of course it gets a little overwhelming, then we just spill over into Canoga. It's a great model. I've also got on the roster, relatively unofficially, and by force, Houston.
Nice.
I had gotten in communication with pretty much all of the CDSs, which are the community development specialists, the people that are in charge of running events at the store. That's their role, is they host and they manage the events they can run at the store. Okay. Everything from Girl Scouts being there to us. So what we've got is Houston going to be setting up their machines. I have an internal Microsoft Store champion, and I've got an external champion, and that is all I need to open up a store. If I have the CDS's approval, if I have an internal Microsoft Store champion that knows what Wi-Fi is and can locate the games boxes, then we're good to go, as long as I have a community developer that I can trust to just be able to text and take selfies and promote the event and just be in communication. Because as these new stores open up, yes, it will get easier and easier, and the Band-Aid will get less and less sticky as we rip it off every different event we do. But each store does have about a 2 to 3 month curve of what we expect to see 8+ players really dedicated and ready to go. I expect it to grow exponentially as we get out east. Sure. But for now, we're really just building credibility in each community and really revitalizing the Halo community inside of each city. So those are the ones that are set. I have Charlotte, North Carolina, extremely, extremely excited because their Microsoft Store champion happens to be a complete Halo nut.
Perfect.
They'll be May 1st. I've got the New York store, which is a flagship store, 3 stories high with 30 games units with Xboxes.
Dang.
Installed and updated, ready to go probably May 1st, and so that'll be one of the big ones.
Nice.
And I think we're talking. We have a community champion in Orlando. We're trying to figure out if that's really the best city to be doing stuff in. There's a lot of other places around Florida, obviously, and Atlanta, Georgia is where that community champion happens to be from. So we might use his resources to kind of open that up, because that'll make a good regional rival to Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm from Chicago, so I'll be getting there as soon as I can. Apparently, they're extremely saturated with gaming events, so they've asked us to hold off for a little bit, which is totally fine. I told them I'm happy to help, and I'll promote events for you if you guys need as we transition in, and we might see something there in the middle or the end of the summer. And I've got one of my friends that is going to see the CDS at the Microsoft Store in Minneapolis, which is the Mall of America.
There you go.
Yeah, store. So imagine playing finishing up your series and then jumping on your victory roller coaster.
Right.
That would be
there you go.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of cities on the map, and I'll be honest with you, that's probably triple what we thought like last month.
Dang.
And we just happened to have an amazing conference call with all these CDSs. We have the amazing Margie, who is working out of the Bellevue store. She's our CDS champion of champions, and she's done an incredible job supporting us and also introducing us to these new CDSs. So we'll be in lots of stores, and the game plan to be out east is probably, if I could ambitiously say, October.
Oh, there you go.
See how the summer goes, because I can see a lot of players really picking this up during the summertime. A lot of those younger guys on summer breaks and stuff like that. So we'll see a big campaign. Maybe even try to hit some of the college campuses during the summertime where things are a little less hectic. Develop a relationship there, and then once the school year starts, boom, it's Pro Battle League, and it's like it's been about every year. So I hope that's your question.
No, it's fantastic. It's so ambitious, and I absolutely love it. And I think it's great to be able to see this organization as almost a facilitator, because for so long and for so many of these new kids getting into Halo is an online game, right? They didn't know any of the LAN part of it, and they didn't know the joy of getting together physically with these people in a location and being able to game, aside from maybe what they're seeing now from like the pro leagues, but being able to facilitate that so that they can have a place where they can get their buddies together, get a team together, come together and play some other team. I think once people start to dive into that and catch that bug, it's gonna spread like fire. I mean, like wildfire.
And I really appreciate that. And the only thing that they might not totally appreciate the LAN, but there's a lot of different reasons why we can get them out there. And it might be just as simple as free pizza and a t-shirt, and it might get somebody out of their out of their house and say, hey, like, I'll go check this out. And the thing is, like, how can you tell somebody you're going to meet one of your best friends for the rest of your life at one of these events? You can't make that promise,
right?
But I'd make a bet right now, you see a lot of relationships coming out of the PBL. I can't tell you the friends I've made so far.
I have no doubt.
And I mean, you guys officially have been added to the list.
Oh yeah.
But it's just really awesome opportunities for these players, for these competitors, for the spectators, for all these people to really get to get connected over the amazing game and community that is Halo.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it many times on this podcast, and we mentioned it earlier. Maddie and I played a lot of traditional sports, mainly soccer, growing up together, and you go into battle, air quotes, go into battle with somebody, and you work together on a team, and you form such a strong bond, stronger than anything else in such a short amount of time. Like, absolutely. I mean, everything translates from traditional sports because it's all teamwork, it's all communication. It's things that if you just met somebody and had a conversation with, you're not going to form that same bond in such a short amount of time unless you were working together on a common goal like that. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, you forge such deep relationships that way. And I remember, when we first started getting into Halo 2 online, we would I don't even know how many people we had on our friends list that I did not even know.
Oh yeah.
We just knew their gamer tag, but we wanted to play with them all the time because they were good. We played together and they were funny. Like they're good friends. Like they're like online friends.
I couldn't tell you the relationships that I've built just because of Halo and the friends that I know across the world, across the states, and guys that as I got older, when I was a kid I didn't have the kind of funds, but people that as you get older, like you really start learning more about their lives. You friend them on Facebook. You basically feel like you know them more than you know your like own brothers sometimes, and you get excited about turns out I'm going to be going over to Boston, Massachusetts. I know 3 people there. I need to go on a conference for work, but 3 of my best gaming buddies just happen to be living, and they know exactly where they're going to take me out. It's going to be a great, and it's just an experience you can't really get anywhere else.
No, absolutely not. So. Gosh, thank you so much for walking us through all this. This is fantastic, and I'm so excited to see how this grows. Is there anything we missed? Something that you're like, man, I hope you asked me this question. Is there something that we missed that you just gotta share about Pro Battle League, or if we covered it?
Right. No. The thing is, there's so much to cover in the future, in the dreams that we're building right now. It's really about the excitement of what is it going to be. what is this going to turn into? Because we don't know. We've got the dream. I've done this before. I've built like an awesome organization inside of my college on a much smaller scale, but it's really changed lives and it's done amazing things. The only thing that I'd really love to cover is the openness of Pro Battle League, and of being excited to not just bring in players and spectators, and we're big on esportsmanship, really big on esportsmanship, and we want to see some positivity brought to the youth, some positivity brought to the families of the players. I'm looking for scholarships. I'm down the road. I want to get these players in here. That was my biggest thing. Like I got a ton of student loans I got to pay, and if I definitely was good enough at Halo at that point in time to be sponsored for a scholarship at least. That's one of those opportunities. I grinded out. I told you 10,000 hours. They've already been put in. Now I'm washed up. But yeah, it's really that awesome opportunity to see that. So we are looking for awesome organizations to partner with to help them grow and to help the Pro Battle League grow. And we had spoken offline about Gamers Outreach and those like charity organizations like that. We really want to work with as many people as possible to really bring the community together and to grow and to be like, this is like, for me, it's like, I want to be like, yeah, we did that because of Halo, and maybe to like shove it in the face of everybody that was like, you're spending way too much time playing video games in your life. Than it is to just be like, no, it's not only an amazing experience, the camaraderie is awesome, but it's also an incredible way to stay sharp, right? Like those, I got myself through college. I played 2 games of Halo before every test I ever took. I was like, I'm not going to cram. I'm going to let loose. That's going to be my brain's, the hamster starts running faster than to be staring at a piece of paper. So I mean, I think we definitely covered a lot of it. If you guys do have any questions, anybody, please. I mean, I'm sure you guys will give me the link to the YouTube. I'll answer any questions that I can. But I'm on Twitter at James Fury NH. Neighborhood Heroes used to be the name of my team whenever I competed in college, and not New Hampshire. Never been to New Hampshire. But yeah, at James Fury NH at PBL Halo is our main Twitter com for the overall organization. Our website is battleleague.com. That's used for mostly just for pictures, and we want to get teams rosters and stuff on there, kind of the way that other sites have been set up to be able to facilitate those teams. You can get a lot of good information on that. But yeah, and then other than that, twitch.tv/Pro Battle League is where we are every Thursday night, hopefully to be every Monday night as well. And we'll be casting the April 3rd show from 1 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on twitch.tv/Pro Battle League.
Man,
and
awesome.
Thank you guys. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
No, thanks for joining us. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, this has been a really, really, really great conversation. I love meeting you, and I love being able to talk about this. Before we sign off here, Matty, do you have any other words?
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that when Sergeant over here started, talking about this and started talking about having you on and stuff like that, just kind of, I don't know how excited I was at the idea of Pro Battle Leagues. Honestly, like just the local level of it is just something I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like I can't, like, unbelievable. Like Buffalo is a pretty small city, but I'm like, what if in a year we got something like this in Buffalo, like, and then I can go to this, every month, and it's just there. It's like, instead of going to my bowling league, I'm going to go to my Halo league, and like that's something that I feel would just be awesome, and something that I've been craving for a very, very long time with something like Halo. And it's just unbelievable the fact that, doesn't seem that far off, I guess, That doesn't seem like a pipe dream,
I hear you, and it seemed like a dream for a really long time. Like I'd mentioned, I did this in college, and like when I came out, if you ever want a good laugh, you can go onto my Twitter and go all the way back to my pictures. And I created my Twitter so that I could get super hyped about MCC, and well, then MCC happened, and it was a rough start. So there's like 2 or 3 days worth of pictures of like, being really excited, and then nothing for a year. I didn't know tweets, nothing. And I wish I knew how many followers I had at that point in time. And then once Halo 5 came out, I was like, all right, jump back on the bandwagon, get on the Twitter sphere. And obviously that's how I met you guys. It's how I'm meeting a whole lot of people, just getting awesome and getting excited. That's how I got introduced to Pro Battle League. I just blurted out, I live in Seattle. I'm super excited about the Halo community. Like, let's do this. And I was contacted by the Pro Battle League and brought on. And next thing you know, I'm running events. And it was an awesome experience. So I look forward to it growing. I guarantee we'll be out there probably even sooner than I think. and it'll be exciting to watch the champions come out of the woodwork like your guys' selves, and really like watch the community step up like on its own. Like once it gets excited, like we said with the Forge maps, you give the right person the right set of tools and the right canvas, and they'll make something incredible. And that's what we're doing right now. We're making something really incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, if you have any questions, and you want to reach out to James Drury himself, you can find him on Twitter. He mentioned that earlier. Again, we will have that down in the description, so you can kind of find a quick link there. As always, you can email us at espawngaming@gmail.com, or you can find any of us on Twitter. All this information will be down in the description so that you don't have to memorize it and scroll this down with a pen or paper or whatever. You can always find it down in the description. We'll have it there all the time. But again, James, thank you so much for joining us. This has been, this has been a treat, and we really appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was definitely a great way to end a Monday.
Oh gosh, couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next week.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Take care.
A little off against Renegades. Who knows if they had all the team chemistry there? But that's the thing. I mean, if you do start slow in these single elimination tournaments, you don't have a second chance. If you don't come out fast, you're